Brody off of administrative leave to paid leave. I said it at that time too, and I still believe he is a good person who has made a poor judgment call here. He owned up to it all the way through the process after he was arrested and pled guilty, owned what happened here. And yeah, this is a very, very unfortunate situation. So with that said, are there any questions from the board or comments? There are no questions. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept resolution 2019-04 dealing with the disciplinary action against Brody L. Brown.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion from the board? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that passes. Go on to the next one.
Recommended the board 2019-05, which is to accept the resignation of Kyle Cow. This also stems from the incident occurring on December 14, 2018. Kyle Cow has waived his right to a hearing before the Board of Works concerning disciplinary action and has tendered his resignation from the police department effective May 8, 2019. This would be requesting the board to accept his resignation.
Thank you, Shannon. Again, same feelings on this one for me. The May 8th, is that the correct date? Yeah, the May 8th date for the resignation. Will not be working for the city of Goshen, but due to the years that he's had here, we are required to pay his time coming, sick time that's accumulated compensation time, and also vacation time. And as rather than the city paying this in one lump sum, we thought it made more sense to be able to a little easier on the budget to spread it out. I want to emphasize that he will not be working for the city of Goshen. And so he will be getting all time coming that we are required to pay out at this point, as well as any benefits that we are required to pay out. I'm very clear about that. Is there any questions, comments from the board? All right, hearing none, is there a motion?
I move we accept the resignation of Kyle Cow. This is resolution 2019-05, and the resignation is effective May 8, 2019.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, and that passes. And I would just like to say thank you. The chief is going to have his comments after this meeting here. Like I said before, would like to say thank you to the police chief, the way he's handled this situation. I'm proud of it. He brought in others when he realized what we were dealing with, other entities. So I appreciate the Elkhart County Sheriff's Department coming in to do the investigation. And I also appreciate all the work from the prosecutor's office and for their work on this. I wish some things would have been done differently that evening, and but this is where we're at. And I'd just like to ask the community to please remember that we have a multitude of this community that are doing the job right. And we have a great department here, and I still fully support this department and appreciate how they go about their work. And we will be making sure that we're stay vigilant to make sure that things like this and happen in the future cannot happen again. That brings us to privilege of the floor. Is there anybody that wishes to speak to the board with on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, I'll make a motion process civil adjourned.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? We're adjourned. If you'll give us a few minutes to set up the podium, we'll have the press conference.
You want to sign this?
Yeah, let's just spin the table.
Okay, sorry about the sound.
Sorry, guys.
What's gonna happen
We
now
were in a
is they're setting up the
meeting,
room for the chief to
so
do a
we
press
couldn't talk.
conference.
What is going on is the police chief is getting ready to speak. So we will videotape that.
Hopefully the sound is better.
So thank you guys for tuning in. We really appreciate it. This is my first audit other than the airport, so it's my
Anybody hear my
second.
voice at this point?
So hopefully you all hear me, and hopefully it's a good thing. I'm ready to hear the police chief speak.
Thank you, guys.
They said they can't hear your stream.
I'm getting ones right now, so
Okay.
your news now. And they couldn't hear them speaking, but they can hear me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Cindy. About 5 of them.
Yeah, about 5 of them are in here, guys. So, we're still going. I know he's getting ready to upstate. Just give it a minute.
I do not your news now. This was a last minute thing. I just found out about it an hour ago.
Brian, I'm not exactly sure. You'll just have to wait.
I just don't have great equipment, John.
First of all, turn this on, first of all. Test. First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for coming out today. I'm Chief Jose Miller with the Goshen City Police Department. Standing behind me is my Assistant Chief, Patrol Division Chief Bill Hubbard, my Investigations Division Chief Keith Miller, and of course Mayor Jeremy Stutzman. What I'd like to do today is give you an update on the investigation that stemmed from the events that happened on December 14th, 2018 Following my statement here, I will be accepting a few questions for those that may have some that I haven't answered. On December 2018 at approximately 1:43 a.m., Goshen Police Officer John McAllips reported hearing the sounds of gunfire coming from a vehicle heading north on Elkhart Road, US 33. He conducted a high-risk traffic stop and requested the assistance from other on-duty Goshen police officers. Captain Michael Miller and Lieutenant Mark Clear responded to the traffic stop to assist Officer McAllips. The driver of the vehicle was identified as off-duty officer Brody L. Brown. There were 2 other off-duty officers in the vehicle at time of the traffic stop. The back was an off-duty Elkhart City police officer, and the front seat passenger was off-duty police officer Sergeant Kyle Cowell. Brown, the driver, was determined to be operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated. Brown was arrested and incarcerated at the Elkhart County Correctional Facility on preliminary charges of operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated. On-duty supervisors indicating protocols were not followed for the securing of the potential crime scene. The Elkhart County Sheriff's Office was contacted by the Goshen Police Department executive staff, and we requested they conduct a criminal investigation into the inquiry fire reported by Officer McAllips prior to the traffic stop. According to our protocols, both Brown and Cal were placed on administrative leave by the Goshen Police Department pending the investigation. Upon conclusion of the criminal investigation conducted by the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office, the Goshen Police Department's executive staff completed the internal investigations. The procedural mistakes made by on-duty supervisors were attributed to their disbelief that one of their own officers was potentially responsible for the gunfire. There was no findings of an intentional act to circumvent department rules and regulations and/or department policies. Their failure to take the appropriate action resulted in numerous violations of department rules and regulations, which are all in place to govern these types of situations. The highest ranking officer of the midnight shift and the supervisor ultimately responsible for the scene that morning was midnight shift Captain Michael A. Miller. For Captain Miller's involvement in the failing to control and secure the scene, the Goshen Board of Safety accepted Officer Miller reduction in rank from captain to patrolman effective January 13th, 2019. In addition, Officer Miller will not be eligible to test for a ranking position or to be an officer in charge for a period of 2 years. Lieutenant Mark Clear was found to be in violation of department policies and department rules and regulations. Lieutenant Clear was disciplined January 31st, 2019. That resulted in a suspension of 4 days. In lieu of suspension of 4 days without pay, he was allowed the opportunity to use his earned leave time, and he forfeited 4 days. Brody L. Brown was formally charged with operating while intoxicated on December 17th, 2018. On December 21st, 2018, I requested, and the Goshen Board of Public Works and Safety approved, to continue officer leave without pay pending the outcome of the criminal charges. Brown cooperated with the investigation and accepted the consequences for his actions. On January 22nd, 2019, Brown pled guilty to IC 930-51A, operating a vehicle with an alcohol concentration equivalent to 0.8, but less than 0.15%, a Class C misdemeanor. He faces all punishment and fines issued by the judge presiding over his case. An internal investigation was conducted on Brown by the Goshen Police Department, and it was determined he was in violation of, the Goshen Police Executive Staff prepared paperwork for the Goshen Legal Department requesting a due process hearing to place Brown on unpaid suspension for a total of 50 work days. In addition, the Goshen Police Executive Staff is requiring Brown to complete a 10-hour alcohol educational program at the Center for Problem Resolution. Brown waived his rights to a due process hearing and has accepted the punishment requested by the Goshen Police Executive Staff. An internal investigation into the reported sounds of the gunfire prior to the traffic stop was conducted by the Goshen Police Department's executive staff. The information discovered, this internal interview led investigators to believe off-duty officer Al was responsible for the gunfire, which originated from the vehicle driven by Brown. The executive staff submitted paperwork for the Goshen Legal Department requesting a due the employment of Cal McCallum from the Goshen Police Department. During this process, Cal submitted his resignation and waived his rights to the due process hearing in front of the Board of Public Works and Safety. As Goshen City's Chief of Police, I'm disheartened by the actions of a few on December 14th, 2018. Officers have a moral and legal obligation to abide by the laws they enforce. Officers are required to abide by and follow department policies and procedures and rules and regulations, which are set forth for our agency. Several officers failed with these obligations that early morning of December 14th, 2018. For this, I want to apologize to both the community and the men and women on the Goshen Police Department. This event, which easily could have been avoided, caused a negative impact on all involved. This affected community trust, other officers, families, careers, reputations, all unforeseen consequences from a regrettable chain of events. To say everyone will always make the correct choices or decisions, but we will always strive for continuous improvement. We owe this to the community we serve and out there, out this profession. Thank you. And I will take some questions if there's some questions.
Why is an officer held at a higher account for their actions as other than local citizens? Why isn't this punishment the same, if not more severe, crime?
Well, in this case, it was. Officer Brody Brown did go to court and did have a judge who oversaw his court case, and he was sentenced and had the same fines and punishments that any other citizens it went through, because internally he violated numerous policies and procedures and rules and regulations, and he was suspended without pay for an additional 50 days and had to take the alcohol educational classes. So it already did have a little bit more punishment than anybody else would out on the street.
Chief, when you say the supervisors handled the investigation the way they did because that one of their own fellow officers was responsible for the gunshots, I think you said. What do you mean by that? What do you mean they disbelieve that?
Well, as officers, you're not expecting to see a situation like this happen and then have off-duty officers the ones who are in the vehicle. And they were shocked by what they had witnessed. And they handled the driving while intoxicated investigation, but it didn't think into the realm that is all a potential crime scene at that time.
The prosecutor says that because that investigation wasn't handled properly, it prevented her office from, being able to seek out whether or not there were criminal charges. Specifically, she says that able to meaningful reaction to that.
I totally understand. That's the whole process of doing a criminal investigation, is you got to do it procedurally, the way the law dictates. And in this case, we failed. We failed on that.
How do you prevent forward?
The main thing is just to make sure officers ensure that they follow the policies, procedures, and rules and regulations that are already in place, which would have prevented something like this from occurring.
When is Brown going to be back on the job if he isn't already? I mean, is that, I'm sorry.
Question is, when will Brown?
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Brown would return to work March 8th.
So that 50 days, so that retroactive days back to then, since he's been on suspension since December?
Correct. It was a total of 50 work days, which would have started when he was first placed on unpaid suspension, which would have been back on December 21st. Any other question? All right, Gladly. Yes.
Were all three officers armed?
I'm not aware of the third, but two of them were, for sure.
Were there any charges filed for being under the influence of alcohol and armed?
Not that I'm aware of. And
They did not have their service weapons with them. They were their own personal firearms.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Do you know where they're coming from?
From our understanding from the internal investigation, Hands Bar, which is just down the road.
Quick question,
They were
when
coming from
is
a bar
Cal's
just down the
resignation
road.
effective?
Stay on the books.
So is he, sorry, allowed on patrol and that sort of thing?
No, he is not allowed, he is not actively working. As the Mayor explained earlier, they earn throughout their career, I mean, what his time, but he will not be physically working.
I know that, John.
One more question. You know, obviously these kind of incidents kind of erode the public's trust.
Correct.
What do you do now?
Well, I would hope with how should we, and I would hope that they would see the past track record with the Goshen Police Department and that we're forthcoming. We're going to
Right,
hold
Cindy.
ourselves accountable and we're going to continue
That is
providing
true,
the service
guys.
that we always have. And I feel in this situation, it was bad choices. But I will say the on-duty officers do their job.
So this is a reflection of individuals, not
They
necessarily
didn't do their job.
a group.
I've already admitted that.
This was poor choices made by individuals, yes. Thank you.
Thank you all.
That's it, guys. He said
That's
the
it, guys.
on-duty officers did their jobs, which he said just a few minutes ago, the on-duty officers did.
That was it, guys. You heard it. Thank you. My phone is not acting right now either. It looks like my phone's froze up in the press. You guys, I'll go live later and when I get home, I tried my best, guys. This is my second audit ever. Yeah, resigned and one has to pay all fines and court costs and everything and go to alcohol classes. But the Elkhart officer is scot-free.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that the chief of police doesn't know whether it's illegal to be drunk in possession of a firearm or not. He knows the answer. He just, again, is hiding the truth. You guys heard him say that they can't.
I seen your message, Gary. Thank you for giving me that message. Hopefully she'll see the video once she gets it back.
Did not believe, the responding officers did not believe that any of them.
Thank you, your news now.
Something.
I will let him know.
So the proper investigation was not followed, but then he has the nerve to give them a pat on the back at the end and say, oh, the responding officers did a great job. Make up your mind, chief. Did they do a good job or did they do a bad job? I think they did a bad job. But
Well, this is my second audit ever.
I'm gonna shut this down.
So,
and let this post, and then I'll
How'd I do, guys?
see if I can fix the audio a little bit.
Oops, I can't read it now, guys.
Checked,
The sun is,
checked Kim Morehouse's. She was also
the sun is in the way.
room. She may, excuse me, she may have a better sound than mine. My phone is still messed up from being attacked by Elkhart police a while back, and they damaged my phone.
Thank you, dear. I
So,
appreciate the
thank you,
compliment.
everybody, and I'll update you as soon as I can.
We'll have a discussion later on about the press conference. If you guys heard it loud and clear, we'll discuss that later. Thank you, Dee Dee. I appreciate it. Your news now said we both done an excellent job.
It was a